these tests were failures as weapons. No way could this thing have been made into a weapon for use in space. In that sense, they were failures. Yet, in spite of this, Edward Teller wrote glowing letters to high government officials under President Reagan.
This X-ray laser is a remarkable invention. And I am not allowed to tell you more. I wish I would be allowed, and I think I should be allowed to tell you more, because the Soviets know about it anyway, in detail.
Teller wrote, for instance, a single X-ray laser module the size of an executive desk, which applied this technology, could potentially shoot down the entire Soviet land-based missile force if it were to be launched into the module's field of view. Now, this kind of statement is absolute blithering nonsense. It is science fiction. It's fantasy. I also think it's dishonest. It was a corruption of science technology to promote a fantastic idea that could not ever work.
But to those who had first persuaded the president, such problems were irrelevant.
Yeah, blow him away. Just kill him, hee-haw!
As it became apparent that the Soviet Union was close to collapse, they claimed that all along the idea had really been to bankrupt the evil empire.
I love these little machines. Got him! Son of a gun. It worked. Mm-hmm. You know, we were putting together we used all the rational analysis we could to put together a strategy to bring down the evil empire, and we did it. It happened.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
It literally took a set of scientific concepts, turned them into a policy, got it adopted, and used it to bring about, in my judgment, one of the key events of the 20th century. Science did that. It brought down the evil empire.
Challenger now heading downrange.
There were many reasons why the Soviet Union finally collapsed, but few people would count Star Wars among them. For 40 years, the world had been frozen by the two superpowers locked in conflict. The men from RAND had seen this as a system simple enough to control with the methods of science. When America's adversary crumbled, that simple world was replaced by complexity and chaos, far beyond the reach of their abstract theories.
We here at RAND believe that the last 40 years, the period from the end of World War II until 1989, was really a very unique period in history. Most of the history of Europe or of the world has involved shifting balances of power and constant warfare, whereas the last 40 years, the balance of power was fairly rigidly frozen. And now we're seeing the balance of power is going to now become more complex the way it was before in the 18th century and 17th century.
Suddenly the Soviet Empire collapsed. What had kept me going through all these many, many years of professional activity disappeared. There was no enemy. We've returned to what we never left. Human normalcy. And we're going to be in for more surprises. I don't know what. We're going to be in for more wars. Of what kind? Of what magnitude? I don't know.
The strategists were part of an age that believed political problems could be solved by the application of knowledge. Their success in preventing Armageddon seemed proof that it worked. But they were lucky enough to inhabit a world that was simple, frozen by the deadlock between the superpowers. That odd moment in history is over, and with it has gone the optimistic faith that the world was being changed for the better.
We are about to take off on the highway of tomorrow. Stand by.